Now, let's do this exercise, grammar exercise about countable and uncountable nouns and quantifiers on page number 7, workbook on page number 7. Here, we have this paragraph, okay? And before we read this paragraph, I want you to notice these quantifiers. Do you remember a lot, few, little, lot of, many, much, number, and some? Okay? Here. Before we start, I want you to notice, do you remember this cup of water, this glass of water that we drew before? I told you that we have here the uncountable, and here we have the countable nouns, right? And I divided it into many sections. And in this section, the lower one, I say that we have to use, or we can use, a few, uncountable, little, or few. Okay. This little and few, both of them indicate a small amount of the thing we have. Do you remember? I am not satisfied with the thing that I have. Now, I can use a little or a few if we have maybe a larger amount of the thing that I have here. Still, little and a little, few and a few, both of them, they are indicating that I have a small amount of the thing that I have. But a little is much better. A few is much better. We will notice this a few or a little in our paragraph in this exercise. Okay, let's read the passage and write the answers in the gaps. Now, she's the boss. The Moso people live in China, and they are one of only a few matriarchal societies in the world. Here, they are talking about قبيلة, مجموعة من الناس بسموها موسو people. مجموعة من الناس بيعيشوا في China, في الصين, سموهم موسو people. And they are one of only a few matriarchal societies in the world. What's the meaning of matriarchal? هنا إحنا عندنا المجتمع عندنا اللي هو النسب بينسب للأب، يعني اسمك على اسم أبوك على اسم جدك. الماترياركال هون بسموه مجتمع أمومي، اللي هو النسب بيكون نسبة للأم، النسب للأم بسموهم matriarchal societies، مجتمعات أمومية، يعني النسب فيها يرجع إلى الأم. Here, this societies here is a countable noun. That's why we used a few. Societies is countable. That's why we used a few, because they are not that much. Yani we don't have many people or many societies like this. We have just a few. عدد قليل من المجتمعات اللي هي النسبة فيها للأم، النسب فيها للأم. In a matriarchal society, the head of the family is the mother. The family name passes down from female to female. النسب من الأنثى للأنثى، مش من الأب من الذكر للذكر زي أنا أبوي جدي، لا، هي البنت أو الولد ينسبوا لأمهم أمهم وهلم جر. And the women make all the decisions. Many generations of women, okay, we have a good amount of generations here. Generations are countable, and we used many generations of women great-grandmothers, grandmothers, mothers, and daughters live in the same house with a lot of their male relatives. يعني مع مجموعة كبيرة, a lot of male relatives. Remember, lot of or a lot of, we use it with both countable and uncountable nouns. Here relatives is a countable noun, relatives, such as uncles, brothers, sons, and nephews. Fathers or husbands live elsewhere and they only have a little contact with their children. يعني الآباء والأزواج بيعيشون في مكان آخر, okay? And they only have a little contact. Contact here means the act of communicating with somebody. It is an uncountable noun. Contact is uncountable noun. That's why we used a little. Little with uncountable nouns with their children. So they have a little contact with their children means a small amount of contact with their children. The children belong to the mother and her family. The uncles help with the children's education and care. الأعمام يعني الأعمام بس هم بيساعدوا في التعليم and care, الاهتمام. But they don't have much control. Control here, control is the power to make discussions about a country, area, machine. Control, like remote control, okay? It's the power to make discussions. Here, the control is uncountable noun. That's why we used much here. In time, the children care for their elderly uncles. These large extended families care a lot about each other. Care a lot about each other. A lot, we can use it with countable or uncountable noun. The modern world, however, is affecting some traditions and things are changing very quickly. The modern world, العالم الحديث, مع أن العالم الحديث is affecting some traditions اللي هو بيأثر في العادات والتقاليد. Traditions are countable, okay, countable noun, and things are changing very quickly. مع أنه العالم الحديث هو بيأثر بالعادات والتقاليد بشكل سريع. Many young people leave their villages to work in a number of large cities nearby. العديد من الشباب اوكي بيغادروا القرية زي القرى اللي هم عايشين فيها to work in a number of large cities nearby اللي هي في العديد من المدن القريبة من هذه villages. A number of large cities. Okay, number means العديد من المدن. There they may discover a different way of life and a culture that is very different to their own. طبعا في المدن اللي ما فيها نفس العادات والتقاليد الموجودة في نفس القرى، يعني القرى العادات والتقاليد مختلفة عن بعض عن المدن، تمام؟ So they can discover a different way of life and culture that is very different to their own. Okay? Here we have this passage. Read it again, okay? And notice these quantifiers. The new thing here is number. Number here when you're talking about the number, يعني العديد. Number here العديد. Okay? And number here they use it with countable noun. Okay? Remember, contact is uncountable noun. Control is uncountable noun. Contact is the act of communicating with somebody. Okay? Contact. Control is the power to make discussions about a country, area, machine, whatever. Okay? This is exercise number A. Exercise number B, we did it already. Okay? It was a homework for you. And I want you to notice that this is all about our exercises in the workbook. Okay? Thank you for listening, Miss.